So, good evening, everyone. I'm Coach Richard. Biology and Physical Sciences for majorship. So, for tonight's session, we are going cover topics on taxonomy and microbiology. Isha. So, I hope with the 20 items that we are going to cover for taxonomy and microbiology, we are going to cover a lot of topics, or we are going to have a concise discussion on taxonomy and microbiology. So first one, we have first item. All living things on Earth are characterized by cellular organization, growth, reproduction, and heredity. These characteristics serve as um, to define the term life. Other properties commonly exhibited by organisms include movement. Stimuli. Which of the following conditions is a sufficient criterion to define life? So we have options: growth, sensitivity, reproduction, or none of the above. So please type in your answers. Okay, you can type in the number and your letter of choice. Okay, so among these options, growth is more encompassing in other options like sensitivity. When you say sensitivity, prick mo siya ng needle. So if we are pricked with the needle, right, our reflex would act on it to avoid it. And yung reproduction naman, this can be asexual or sexual. Some organisms like your plants can grow, or they can reproduce via sexual mean when they do have flowers, or they can reproduce via asexual mean by grafting, cutting, or vegetative process. Among these options, since the characteristics of life are a bit complex, so are the characteristic of living things. Number one, they were able to reproduce. Second one, they were able to utilize energy, to utilize nutrients. So that is metabolism. Then we have the response to stimuli. And then another characteristic for the fourth one would be heredity. There should be a genetic material that would provide the instruction for the actions or processes in the living thing, or and this should be passed down through fertilization, or probably through binary fission, okay, for certain organisms. And we should be evolving. And we have homeostasis. Homeostasis is the ability of an organism to maintain what do you call this one? Its internal balance. Example for us humans, our internal balance is a pH of close to 7.4, the body temperature of around 37 degrees Celsius. So bear in mind that through homeostasis, we were able to maintain this temperature such that hindi tayo, syempre magpapawis tayo kapag sobrang init. Naman, our body fats would be metabolized to provide heat. And then we should also have growth and development. So growth is increase in size, and development is a progression on certain properties like physical aspect, cognitive ability, emotional ability, etc. And we should have a cellular organization, meaning with the cell, and then it would be complex to tissue, organ system, up to your organism. So just to remember these characteristics, you may say, remember my red hat and hot green coat. So reproduction, metabolism, response to stimuli, genetic information or heredity, adaptation through evolution, homeostasis, growth and development, and cellular organization. Knowing these characteristics, dapat present to all living things. That's how you classify or characterize a living thing. So our answer for this question should be none of the above. Kasi all of these characteristics are integrated such that they could not individually define what is a living thing if one is missing. Next item, with this item, on levels of organization, The simplest part of a living thing or living system are made by atoms and molecules at the A, organ level, cellular level, C, molecular level, or D, tissue level. Please type in your answers. Okay, good. The answer is, okay, so simplest parts. So let's have a recall of the organization or hierarchy in living things. So first, we have the cell. Cell is the basic unit of life, as we recall in our discussion to the cell theory, that all living organisms are made up of cells. A group of cells performing a specific function is classified as a tissue. Example of tissue would be mesophyll or your in the lining of the stomach. And then we have organ. Organ is a structure that perform similar or related functions. And a group of organs, um, like your digestion, you have the mouth, you have the esophagus, you have the liver, you have the pancreas as accessories organ of the digestive system, as well as the stomach, small intestine, and the large intestine, making up your digestive system. They perform the digestion and absorption of nutrients. For plants naman, we have the shoot system and the root system. So a group of organ systems would comprise your organism. This would carry out all the functions of living things. Okay, so let's answer this one. So sabi niya, the simplest parts of a living thing system made up of atoms and molecules. That should be cellular level. Remember, cell biology, cell is made up of your organelles. And organelles are made up of your macromolecules. And these macromolecules are made up of atoms and possibly a group of molecules. Okay, so that is for item 62. Okay, let's proceed with item number 63. There are um, there are 8 levels in the hierarchy of blank. A, plant order. B, sea anemones. Letter C, animal kingdom. Or letter D, biological. Please type in your answers. Okay, so let's recall what is hierarchy. So in taxonomy, this is the hierarchy. So we have the domain, you have the phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. So the most inclusive one, yes. So most inclusive to. Tapos sa baba ang least inclusive. And then you is the most specific. So you have the species. Okay, specific. So para ma-memorize ito, ang ano namin dito ay Dom, King, Philip came over from Great Spain. Other would say, their King Philip came over for Great Spaghetti. So that can also work. So, but for me, this one is easier. Dam King Philip came over from Great Spain. So the highest one would be domain. So we have 3 domains. We have the Eukarya, Archaea, and Bacteria. And then kingdoms, right now we have 6 kingdoms. So ito, phylum, like, let's say si Bullfest, that's your scientific name. So it would consist your genus and species. So it belongs to order Carnivora, under class Mammalia, and under phylum Chordata. So when you say phylum Chordata, they would evolve from having notochord. So pag sabi mong chordata, that notochord can become as notochord as they go to their lifespan, or it can develop like us to become your vertebral column. Okay, let me just... All right. So for this item, in item three, the best answer here should be letter D, biological taxonomy. Item, we go with item 64. But before that, let's see. Okay. The highest category in the classification of plants and animals is A, genus, B, species, phylum, or letter D, domain. Please type in your answers. What is the highest classification or category of animals? So as mentioned in our discussion, the highest one would be domain. So ano bang meron sa classification? Taxonomy is a branch of science that deals with describing and classifying living things. And the most famous biologist for taxonomy was made by Carolus Linnaeus. So siya yung considered na father of modern taxonomy. Sa Linnaean system, it follows the binomial nomenclature. But bear in mind that the Linnaean system would only have or would only consist of the animal kingdom and the plantae kingdom. So anong meron doon sa scientific name? So according to Linnaeus, Linnaeus is a physician, is also a biologist and zoologist, is a naturalist. There was a question in the previous boards na ang tanong ay, which of the following does not describe Linnaeus? So ang option na pwede nyo tingnan doon ay, syempre, you have physician siya, biologist siya, botanist siya. So ang isang option na tama doon would be philosopher kasi hindi siya philosopher. So going back to the binomial of Linnaeus. So, meron siyang first term and second term. At yung symbol dito, o yung initial would be L, which pertain to Linnaeus. Pag halimbawa, si Miss Mariano, nakadiscover siya ng bagong species sa Pangasinan. So, pwede niyang ipangalan yon at ibibigay na the end would be M dot kasi si Miss Mariano yung nakadiscover sa isang species na yon. So for rice, we have the scientific name Oryza sativa L. So the first one would be your genus and the second one would be uh, your species name. So let's proceed. Let's have a historical development of taxonomy kasi maraming lumalabas na tanong dito. So the father of ancient taxonomy was Aristotle classified living organisms as either plants or animals. And this was carried over on the work of Carolus Linnaeus, but it was Ernst Haeckel who divided the organisms into three, introducing the kingdom of, and he was the first one to introduce the term Monera that would describe the microorganisms, bacteria. So the Monera was before was just phylum muna siya. And from three kingdom, na develop siya into four kingdom by Herbert Copeland. Ito na nakalagay yung kingdom Monera. So na-elevate si Monera. That would include the unicellular microorganisms. Okay? So next we have the five kingdom from Robert Whittaker. So ang ginawa ni Whittaker ay he would divide the Monera into bacteria. Okay, so you have bacteria, you have animalia, you have plantae, and syempre it was from the work of with basis niya dito ay yung morphology ng mga organisms, yung feeding pattern nila, how do they metabolize their nutrients. So those are some of the basis of Robert Whittaker. So Robert Whittaker further divided the Monera into Kingdom Archaea, Kingdom Bacteria. Kasi iba daw yung characteristic ng ribosomal 16S rDNA nila. So there should be a separate distinction between and bacteria. So archaeans are your extremophiles. They live in extreme environments like acidic environments or hot environments like yung mga trenches, mga geysers, etc. So ang basis of this ano niya, yung kingdom classification would be the 16S. At siya yung nag-introduce ng tatlong domains. Ano ba yung tatlong domains na yun? So organisms can be classified into two based on their cellular organization. They can be prokaryotic, wala sa ilang nucleus, or they can be classified as eukaryotic if may nucleus. And bear in mind that yung prokaryotic organisms natin ay dalawa. You have domain bacteria and domain. While your eukaryotic organisms under domain eukarya can be divided into four. So you have kingdom Protista, kingdom Fungi, and kingdom Animalia and kingdom Plantae. So dapat familiar tayo doon sa characteristic ng mga organisms na to. Like for domain bacteria, they are unicellular. They can be found in everywhere. They can colonize everything. At most of them are for nutrient recycling. Some of them are beneficial, like they can be used for fermentation, like lactobacillus. But some of them can also cause um, uh, diseases. So they can be classified as pathogen, like your E. coli, Salmonella typhi, your Clostridium. Okay, so they can cause certain diseases. Your domain archaea are your extremophiles. They are in hot, acidic environments. And then your domain eukarya can be unicellular or multicellular. At medyo mas malaki yung sizes nila compared to your domain bacteria and domain archaea. And then your domain eukarya, as mentioned, is divided into four. So yung kingdom Protista, these are unicellular organisms. At dito papasok yung mga different organisms na hindi natin pwedeng i-classify under Kingdom Fungi, Kingdom Animalia, and Kingdom Plantae. So, halimbawa, plant-like, animal-like, or fungi-like organism would most likely fall under Kingdom Protista. Your Kingdom Fungi naman can be unicellular or multicellular at ang ay they decompose organisms and they are heterotrophic. Mukha lang silang plants pero they do not photosynthesize. Bear that in mind kasi tinatanong yun sa licensure exam. And for Kingdom Animalia naman, these are multicellular and they are heterotrophic rather. So when you say heterotrophic, it means that they depend on organisms to live, to get their energy and nutrients. While your Kingdom Plantae cellular and they utilize sunlight because they contain the chloroplast organelle and chloroplast can capture sunlight. So these are autotrophic. So as we can see, we have 6 kingdoms. So let's answer item 65. Okay. So for item 65, what is the correct way of writing with capital and small name for onion? So bear in mind that the first one would be your genus and the second one would be your species name. Okay? And dapat uppercase ito. Okay? Tapos ito small letter na lang siya. And dapat italicized siya. So please type in your answer among the given options. Allium cepa, both of the first letters are capital. Allium cepa, both letters or start letters are in lowercase. Allium cepa, only the cepa has a capital letter C. Okay, very good. It should be letter A. Allium cepa, where in the uppercase should be on the beginning of the first name, which is your genus. Next item, which will you identify as the majority of the 8.7 million species of living organisms reported by the UN Environment Program's World Conservation Monitoring Center in 2011? Letter A, microorganisms. B, marine life. Letter C, bacteria and viruses. Or letter D, land species. Okay. Very good. We can classify them as microorganisms. In the recent licensure exam, ang sagot doon ay microbes. But when we say microbes kasi, it is related to the term germ. So germ species. So anything that is not seen by the naked eye but could be seen by microscopes are classified as organisms. Next question, number 67. Which of the following does not belong to the classification of disease-causing microorganisms? Algae, bacteria, fungi, viruses. So for disease causing microorganisms, bacteria can be classified as microorganism. Fungi are also classified as microorganism. Algae are unicellular and they can be seen by naked eye at hindi sila nagkakos ng sakit. While your viruses, later on we would see how do we classify a virus? Is it a living thing or non-living thing? So, ang ano natin, viruses can cause diseases. Ang hinahanap ay does not belong to the group. So, ang best ay algae. But bear in mind that certain microorganisms like your malaria can cause diseases. Next item, number 68. Bacteria plays important roles in nature as blank. Letter A, germ catalyst. Letter B, biological enhancers. Letter C, chemical recyclers. Letter D, organic additives. Please type in your answer. So, ano ba yung mga role ng bacteria? So, when you say bacteria or certain microorganisms, usually ang pinaka-purpose nila ay for nutrient cycling. Kasi they certain nutrients, they recycle it like yung mga amino acids, they would convert it to ammonia, certain carbohydrates can be converted again to carbon dioxide, etc., etc. So they are part of the nutrient cycling in our biosphere. Organisms such as your bacteria and fungi can be utilized in oil spill. They can degrade your hydrocarbons and certain fats, okay, such that they are utilized in the process called bioremediation. When you say bioremediation, it's a process of utilizing any organisms to degrade contamination such as oil spill. Certain microorganisms like your lactobacillus bacteria, they can be used for fermentation. Remember, fermentation is a biotech technique, okay, to improve the taste, palatability, and nutrient content of our food. And then, certain bacteria also can produce antibiotics such as your erythromycin. It is produced by certain bacteria. And then, they can also have a symbiotic relationship with like your Rhizodium bacteria. So they can grow in the nodules of the roots. Ang ginagawa ng may enzymes na tinatawag na nitrogenase that would convert the nitrogen gas in the atmosphere to become your either nitrate or ammonium ion. And these nutrients could be utilized by plant to make amino acids or anything that is needed by the plant. Okay? So, let's go back to this item. So, ang question ay, sabi niya, in item 68, bacteria plays important roles in nature. So, ang tinatanong niya ay yung role ng bacteria in, okay, in environment. Would you like to change your answer? Okay, so what is the best answer? The best answer, letter C. Your bacteria are your chemical recyclers. So they are part nutrient recycling process of our environment. Next item, we go with item 69. Which of the following pairs of organisms and diseases is incorrect? Please type in your answer. Okay, is it prion syphilis, bacterium syphilis, you have Archaeobacterium gonorrhea, you have Sporozoan malaria. Okay, so ang sagot dito ay letter A. Certain diseases, pero ang syphilis ay caused by a bacterium that is a bacterium. Syphilis, these are STDs or sexually transmitted diseases, as well as your gonorrhea. So usually, ang syphilis can be detected by blood, while your gonorrhea would need bacterial culturing. So they would see certain lesions, and then they would collect certain samples. Then they would see if there was a question kasi in the recent licensure exam na tinatanong living cannot be detected or diagnosed through blood. Syphilis can be detected by blood, Gonorrhea is not tested through blood, but through samples of the lesions. And your malaria is caused by your Sporozoan plasmodium. So let's have a quick recall of these notable pathogens. So you have Lyme disease. These are caused by Borrelia burgdorferi. At ito, carried to ng mga dogs. We have the bubonic plague that has decimated a lot of the population in Europe. This was carried by a vector. Tandaan natin, ang pathogen ay yung root cause. At ang tagadala ng sakit ay vector. Example, for Lyme disease, ang root cause ay Borrelia burgdorferi. Vector natin ay yung tick. For bubonic plague, ang vector natin ay mga rats pero ang root cause ay yung Yersinia pestis. Poisoning, you have Salmonella, STDs, you have gonorrhea, chlamydia, and syphilis. For malaria, cause sa kanya ay yung protis na Plasmodium species. Bakit Plasmodium species? Ang pinaka-notable in case studies in the Philippines, ang pinaka-root or dominant species is yung Plasmodium vivax. But there are certain species of Plasmodium like Falciparum that can also cause malaria. And then for prions naman, these are abnormal proteins or misfolded proteins. Among these microorganisms, ang prions ang pinakamahirap sterilize. At usually, ang ginagamit nating pang-sterilize ay bleach or autoclave. So, ang isang cause nito ay yung mad cow disease, but there is also protein, ang sakit na yon ay yung Alzheimer's. If there is an abnormal build-up of beta-amyloid protein in the neurons, kapag nag-build up siya, usually it can result to the death of the neuron. Kaya nagkakaroon ng problem with memory or nagkakaroon ng memory loss yung mga patients suffering from Alzheimer. Next item, by what primary means do bacteria typically engage in reproduction? Okay. Can you type in your answer? Very good. The answer is letter A. So, reproduce asexually. So, same sila ng makeup. They are genetically identical. So, that process is called binary fission. Ano yung conjugation? Ang conjugation ay, ito yung process ng genetic material. Let's say yung bacteria, okay? Ano ba, let's say you have bacteria, certain bacteria dito. Pag may mga certain plasmids na nakalutang-lutang sa environment ng bacteria na yon, pwedeng kunin yun ng microorganism. It can lead to, in worst case scenario, it can lead to antibiotic resistance kasi yung plasmid is carried on or is located in the plasmid of bacterial cells. Next item, number 71. What is the method which uses microorganisms to metabolize or to clean up toxic waste? Letter A, denudation. Letter B, activism. Letter C, bioremediation. Or letter D, filtration. So please type in your answer. Okay, so ang best answer dito ay letter C, bioremediation. Next, we proceed with item 72. Of the following, which does not characterize the bacteria, which is believed to be the earliest life forms having lived 3.8 million years ago? Letter A, has a nuclear membrane to separate nuclear material from cytoplasm. Letter B, they are made up of prokaryotic cells. Letter C, has cell walls made up of protein carbonate complex. Letter D, has a single circular DNA. Please type in your answer for item 72. Okay, so bear in mind that your bacteria is what? They are prokaryotic organisms. So ibig sabihin, wala silang, very good, wala silang nucleus. So mali yung letter A. So ang hinahanap kasi does not characterize the bacteria. So they are prokaryotic. They do not contain at meron silang singular circular DNA. At yung cell wall nila ay made up of what we call peptidoglycan. Meron itong peptide, 4 to 5 amino acids at meron siyang sugar component. Kasi di ba, peptido pertains to protein, glycan pertains to carbohydrates. As opposed to certain organisms like your plantae, cell walls made of cellulose, while your fungi have cell walls made of glycans and in the recent licensure exam, glucans yung term niya, but carbohydrate is chitin. So yung chitin naman present sa fungal cell walls. Okay? So let's proceed with item 73. So item 73 asks for the classification of organisms responsible for red tide and toxins that are deadly to fishes and humans. Letter A, G, letter B, brown algae, letter C, dinoflagellates, or letter D, chlorophytes. Please type in your answers. Okay? So ang ano natin, ang problem natin ay yung red tide, right? And red tide toxin can accumulate on shellfish like your tahong or talaba. At itong mga ano na to, pag kinonsume natin, they can cause a stomach ache and possibly death. So they can be. Ano ba yung mga organisms na to? They are classified under protists. So protists are eukaryotic organisms that include your protozoa and slime molds. They have flagella or cilia for locomotion. Na tinatanong sa let. Una na dyan yung Entomoeba histolytica, the one that cause your dysentery or amoebiasis. And then you have your Plasmodium species that cause your, yeah? And then you have the dinoflagellates that would result to red tide. Bakit siya tinawag na red tide? Your dinoflagellates are protist organisms. So pag ang isang body of water like your sea, inoccupy nila, it can promote algal bloom. At kapag dumami yung algal bloom at namatay sila, so when they decompose, they would turn into reddish coloration. So kaya siya tinawag na red. At kapag ito, yung nag-produce sila ng red tide toxin, dahil meron tayong mga tinatawag na ocean feeder, okay? Sa ocean, like your mussels, your oysters, they can accumulate the red tide toxin and they are harmful for consumption. So for this item, ang best answer would be letter C, dinoflagellates. Kasi ang red algae, they can be used for ano, if familiar kayo dun sa mga nori na kinakain natin sa mga Korean stores, at ang brown algae, ito naman yung tinatawag na kelp. They are utilized for certain soup like your ramen. So they are healthy alternatives. At yung red algae, usually they contain carrageenan. Ang chlorophytes are classified under green algae. At kadalasan yung mga algae ay, aside from they can do photosynthesis, they are useful for food production like uh, kasi alternative sila for collagen. So they can be used for gel formation. So they are good source of carrageenan. Number 74, the process of photosynthesis occurs not only in plants, but also in one of the following: A, archaea, B, virus, C, green fungi, or letter D, algae. Okay, can I see your answer? So in this case, ang mga nagpa-photosynthesize ay actually tatlo. We have the kingdom Plantae, we have cyanobacteria, and algae. At may isa pa, yung mga phyto. So majority ng oxygen gas ay napoproduce from ocean ng algae and phytoplankton. So the best answer here should be letter D, algae or alga. Next item, uh, item 75. The kingdom Protista consists of predominantly unicellular phyla of eukaryotes together with number of multicellular organisms, the red algae, the green algae. Protists are considered as the ancestors of plants, fungi, animals, or all of the above. Please type in your answers. So, as mentioned, sabi niya, uh, algae, the red algae, the brown algae, and the green algae. So, they can do what? They can photosynthesize. If they can photosynthesize, the only organism that can photosynthesize in the given options is plant. So your plants can do photosynthesis. That's why your algae are considered as possible ancestors of plants. So hindi sila pwedeng lumabas sa ocean or mawala sa sea kasi wala silang wax na cuticle. At yung wax na cuticle ng plant na yun prevent dehydration of water. Next item, item 76. Which protist causes malaria? Letter A, Euglena. Letter B, Nilhazzia. Letter C, Plasmodium. Letter D, Staphylococcus. Please type in your answer. Okay. So, ang best answer dito, very good. It should be Plasmodium. Ang Euglena, protist din to, but it's not the root cause of malaria. Nilhazzia naman, these are Uh, they infect. They are part of Microsporidia. They infect the ants and kapag na-infect nila yung ants, mamamatay na yung ants. Well, there's Staphylococcus. It's a spherical or round bacteria. Ang pinaka-common dito ay yung Staphylococcus aureus. Ito yung nagkakos ng boils at saka pimple. Dapat di natin piniprick yung pimple natin kasi it can lead to bacterial infection. Next item, number 77. What is the unique feature? Letter A, some are capable of bioluminescence. Letter B, they contain genetic material. Letter C, they contain mitochondria. Or letter D, they contain chitins and glucans in their cell wall. Okay, what's your answer? So, though some are capable of bioluminescence, but this characteristic is also applicable to, alam ba, yung firefly at saka yung mga ano natin, yung mga jellyfish natin is not a unique property of fungi. So ano bang meron sa mga fungi? Number one, they are unicellular or filamentous eukaryotic organisms. They reproduce by spores at may chitin sila sa cell walls nila. So remember that fungi are classified as heterotrophic decomposers. Doon naman, hindi sila nagpa-photosynthesis, hindi sila producers. Ano sila? They rely on certain organisms. Kaya sila heterotrophic. At ang pinaka-purpose nila sa environment natin ay decompose certain nutrients. So other examples of fungi would be your Baker's yeast, like your Saccharomyces species, your mushrooms, your ringworm, ito yung bune, and then you have Microsporidia, the one that causes urinary infection. So let's go back to this item. So what is the unique feature of fungi? The best answer here should be they contain chitins and glucans in their cell walls. Let's proceed with items. Yeast convert sugar into alcohol through the process of blank. Letter A, biomass. Letter B, combustion. Letter C, fermentation. Or letter D, electrolysis. Okay, what's your answer for item 78? Okay, when we say conversion of sugar into alcohol, remember that in our biology class, we have discussed that your glucose is converted to become your 2,5. At itong pyruvate na to can become in certain fermenting organism like your yeast to become ethanol. So ang tawag natin sa process nito ay fermentation. Letter C. Next, next item. Before we proceed with item 78 pala, how do we classify virus? So, is virus a living thing or non-living thing? So, una natin titignan dito ay, pwede ba siyang mag-reproduce? Actually, viruses can only reproduce if they hijack a cell. When you say, pag may cell dyan at lapat ang receptor niya with the antigen of the virus, papasok siya at i-hijack niya yung ribosomes as well as the proteins of the cell para mag-reproduce siya. So it can be uh, lysogenic or lytic virus. At pwede ba silang mag-metabolize? Actually, pag na-hijack na nila yung cell, pwede na silang mag-utilize nung machinery nung cell. So this one, let's put a question mark as well as for reproduction. They cannot reproduce on their own. They need to infect a cell. Next, do they respond to stimuli? Like, pag tinusok mo ba yan ng karayom yung virus, mag-move siya. Kapag ba naglagay ka ng electricity, magkakaroon ng reaction, we don't know. Okay? Do they have genetic material? Yes, may genetic material sila. At it can be passed down to infect other cells. Do they adapt through evolution? The answer is yes, di ba? Yung COVID-19 last time, di ba? Nagkaroon siya ng Delta variant, nagkaroon siya ng Omicron variant kasi the SARS-CoV-2 can modify itself. I mean, it can evolve such that less yung clinical manifestation niya, pero mas madali siyang makahawa sa mga tao. Maintain ba sila ng internal balance? Actually, we don't know. Do they grow and develop? We don't know. Do they have cellular organization? Actually, wala. So, kung titignan natin yan, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, dalawa lang yung tumama natin out of 8 characteristics. Therefore, viruses are not classified as living organism. They are not living thing at the moment. So, ano ba yung mga characteristic ng virus? Una, as sila. So, they can only have RNA or DNA but never both. At they are classified as non-living thing at meron silang genetic material na covered by your capsid. So, yung capsid na yun, yun yung cover, protein cover of the genetic material. At meron pa sila, they can be naked. Ibig sabihin ng naked, wala silang envelope or they can have envelope made of possibly can made of lipids or some of them can be proteolipids. At they are classified as obligate intracellular parasites, meaning kailangan nilang mag-infect ng tao at kadalasan they are host specific, meaning yung mga virus, di ba? Like, kunwari, yung sa ano natin, yung SARS-CoV-2, kadalasang in-infect niya ay yung mga nasa nasal passages natin. Kasi kailangan niya ng isang receptor that is common to that. Other would be your hepatitis viruses can infect your liver cells. Your HPV, yung human papilloma virus, can infect the cervix, and then your HIV naman, your human immunodeficiency virus can infect our T cells kasi kailangan nila ng CD4 and CD8 receptors. So most of them are, or all of them are, can cause clinical disease. So let's answer item 79 and 80. So which of the following acellular infectious agents are not capable of undergoing cell division? Protozoa, virus, fungi. Please type in your answer. So which of the following cellular infectious agents are not capable of undergoing cell division? Very good. Ang sagot ay virus kasi a cellular organism or a cellular entity sila. Last item would be the protein shell of a virus is called nucleus, nucleic acid, capsid, nucleolus. Okay, very good. The answer is it. Kasi if we can recall our illustration, yung genetic material mo na RNA or DNA, covered siya ng capsid. So this is made of capsomer proteins. So that ends our discussion for taxonomy and microbiology. So thank you for watching this session and I hope nakatulong to sa inyo.